Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Narottama Das Thakur is such a wonderful personality. We have already discussed about his childhood in one session. How he attained Krishna Prem, which was deposited by Gauranga Mahaprabhu in the river. How he escaped from his house and he went to Vrindavan. All the ones who are planning for Brahmachari Ashram, this section is very important, running away from the home. And that too, that intense mood that he had. Even when those guards, they caught him, such intense mood was exhibited by Narottama Das Thakur that please don't separate me from my Krishna. I'm going to Vrindavan. Don't stop me. To an extent where the heart of guards also melted and they said, okay, go. You have our blessings. And then we understand that Narottama Das Thakur, with the other two personalities, Shyamananda, Srinivas, they become the first trio book distributors of Gaudiya Parampara. So they take the books and they come out of Vrindavan. What an amazing occasion that was. Where all the books are loaded on the cart and the cart is going out of Vrindavan. All the Vaishnavas, they're very happy. Finally, book distribution begins. And then, fast forwarding the entire pastime, Narottama Das Thakur organized the first Gaur Purnima festival. We had an elaborate session on this, where we discussed how this entire festival took place. In that festival, there were 6 deities which were installed. One was Gauranga Mahaprabhu's deity, which was mysteriously found, which we had discussed elaborately the other day. Then Radha Vallabhi Kanta, Radha Krishna, Radha Vrajmohan, Radha Raman, Radha Kanta. These were the 6 deities which were installed by Narottama Das Thakur in Kheturi festival in Kheturi Gram. Now, after this Kheturi festival, which is a mega festival, and where everyone heard Narottama Das Thakur singing, his wonderful pravachans, etc., everyone was mesmerized. And so many people started following Narottama Das Thakur from that point of time. And when the fame of a person increases, envious people will also increase, number of envious people. So that also started. So now after this festival, when Narottama Das Thakur's fame was everywhere, the entire community of Brahmanas at that time, the caste Brahmanas, they were against Narottama Das. They were saying he is a Shudra. Because Narottama Das Thakur was also called as Thakur Mahashay. He came from a Shudra background or a Kayastha background. So the Brahmanas had this weird idea that people who are taking birth in Brahmana family, they are top class. This was there in the mind. One day, Narottama Das Thakur and his very dear friend, disciple of Srinivas Acharya, what is his name? Ramachandra Kaviraj. Ramachandra Sangamage Narottama Das. So they're very, very close, very, very close friends. Because after Kheturi festival, everyone left. But Narottama Das Thakur requested Ramachandra to stay back. So Ramachandra Prabhu, he stayed back. And it is described that they had Ganishta Mitrata. A very, very strong friendship. They would spend a lot of time with each other discussing Shastra. And a lot of time together preaching. So one day, both of them, they were going to Padmavati river to take bath. And when they were going to take bath at that time, they saw 2 young Brahmana boys. They were having many goats and sheep and buffaloes in front of them and they were taking them to some place. And they immediately understood, oh, now this Durga Puja is going on. We're talking about Bengal, no? So Durga Puja is going on. And these animals are supposed to be sacrificed, looks like. So they purposely, both of them, they went close to those boys. Not very close, but close. To an extent that the boys would be able to hear what these two are speaking. So they both loudly started talking to each other. So Narottama Thakur said, Krishna says in Bhagavad-gita, the worshippers of demigod are very less intelligent. By worshipping demigods, there is no question of spiritual growth. Then Ramachandra is speaking to Narottama and he says, yes, you're correct. They'll get some piety by doing some sacrifices. They think that they'll get some piety by doing some sacrifices, especially animal sacrifice, but they don't know they're going to get lot of sin. They have to suffer for this lifetime after lifetime. Now those boys are hearing. That was the goal anyways. Now those boys were hearing and now they became even more attentive when they heard about animal sacrifice. Then Narottama again, he continued, he said, hey Ramachandra, in the past animal sacrifice was done to test the efficacy of the Vedic mantras. Where the old animal was put in the yajna kund and animal with a new body will come out, with a young body would come out. Therefore, Ramachandra, I tell you that in the age of Kali Yuga, this is not allowed. You know why it is not allowed? And the boys are hearing. Why it is not allowed? Because in Kali Yuga, there are no pure Brahmanas. There are no pure Brahmanas in Kali Yuga. And Ramachandra said, yes, Narottama, you're correct. Therefore, in the age of Kali Yuga, there's only one yajna that is bona fide, and that is Sankirtan yajna, chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Hare Nama, Hare Namaiva Kevalam Kalau Naste Gatiranyatha. Now these boys who are hearing, just by hearing these few words, few sentences from these two great personalities, their heart got transformed. And they came, now these two, they spoke and they sat on the banks of the river and they were continuing to speak. And these boys stopped and they were thinking that now is the time that we should go and approach these two great Vaishnavas. So one boy is asking another boy that, you know who they are? And this boy is telling, I know. They were the ones who arranged Kheturi festival. Narottama Das Thakur Mahashay and Ramachandra Kaviraj. Let's go and approach them. Take their shelter. Anyways, we are sinful people. We have no other hopes apart from the mercy of Vaishnavas. So they both now went close to Narottama and Ramachandra. They paid obeisance to them and they said, please save us. Our mission was very sinful. And we have realized that it is sinful. Please save us. Please deliver us or else we are completely doomed. We have no hope. So wonderful, no? Just by the speech of a pure devotee, the hearts get transformed. They were talking to each other. They didn't preach to them also. It was obviously an indirect preaching. But still, just by hearing that, their hearts got transformed. Therefore, it is described the real preaching will happen when our hearts are purified, when we actually attain Krishna Prem. Real preaching will happen at that time. Preaching means what? We help people to get closer to Krishna. We help people to come to a stage of worshipping the Lord with one-pointed focus, with love and devotion. Now we ourselves, if we don't have love and devotion, what will give it to others? Those people who have it, they are the ones who are able to distribute it. Therefore, it is described that we devotees, we Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we should aim at attaining pure devotional service very soon in our life. And if the Lordships are merciful unto us, they'll award us Krishna Prem. And then we can go around to distribute Krishna Prem. Till then, we'll distribute our contamination with some information from Shastra. That is what is our current situation, what to do. Here is a proof. What happens when you are a pure devotee? What happens when you have Krishna Prem? the hearts will get transformed of people. Prabhupada is an example. Prabhupada would speak, hippies were not understanding what he is speaking. But still their hearts were transformed. And Prabhupada was very confident, very, very confident. To an extent that when Prabhupada would give Hindi class or Bengali class, and his Western disciples are sitting, and obviously when you don't understand the language, when you understand the language, you doze off. When you don't understand the language, what will happen? So even disciples would doze off in the class, and after the class, Prabhupada would call them and ask, why are you sleeping? Why are you sleeping in the class? And the disciples would say, Prabhupada, you're speaking in Hindi, Bengali, how will we understand? So what? Sound vibrations are important. Sound vibrations. Now see, Prabhupada had so much of confidence that just by hearing his sound vibrations, a person's heart will surely get transformed. And we saw that. We have seen it. In all these great devotees, Prabhupada disciples, how their hearts were transformed and how they did massive service for Prabhupada. And we have these two boys who have come with a transformed heart and they are paying obeisance to Ramachandra and Narottama. And they are requesting, please deliver us. Now, Narottam Das Thakur and Ramachandra Prabhu, both of them, they asked, who are you? Who are you both? And then these two boys, they introduced, we are the sons of Shivananda Acharya. In some places, name is given as Shivaya Acharya. And our names are, they were very beautiful names they had. Their names are Hari Ram and Ramakrishna. Nice names. Hari Ram and Ramakrishna. And they started saying, our father, Shivaya or Shivananda Acharya, he is a staunch devotee of Durga. And he asked us to purchase all these animals for sacrifice. And therefore we were taking them and we were going. Thakur Mahashay and Ramachandra Kaviraj, they asked, do you think your father is right doing all this animal sacrifice? And the boy said, no, absolutely wrong. We realized that after hearing your talks. And then Ramachandra Prabhu, he said, okay, come, we'll take you to the famous Kheturi temple. You can come and take darshan of their lordships. So these two boys went. They took darshan of their lordships. The 6 deities, out of which we had Gauranga Mahaprabhu also, the special deity. And from there, they went to the ashram. And there it is described, Narottama Das Thakur and Ramachandra Prabhu, both of them, they started speaking Krishna conscious philosophy from the books of Acharyas. And now these boys are attentively hearing. And this went on and on and on. And when the time came for the class to stop and the boys to leave, at that time the boy said, please keep me in your ashram. We don't want to go back. We want to join. We don't want to go back. We want to join your ashram. So at that time, Narottama Das Thakur Mahashay, just to test these boys, he said, see, if you come here, if you join our ashram, what about your wealthy father? And what about his all friends and relatives? Do you think they'll keep quiet? So that time, both the boys, they said, it doesn't matter for us. If you shower your mercy, that is enough. We don't care rest of the things of this world. And at that time, Narottama Das Thakur, he said, okay, you're allowed. Come, stay. They stayed in the ashram for 10 days. Now these 10 days were very special in the lives of these boys. Very special. Can you imagine staying with Narottama Das Thakur, Ramachandra Kaviraj? It's not ordinary thing. It's like staying with Srila Prabhupada. That's what max to max we can imagine. Yes. So these two boys, they're fully engrossed almost 24 hours a day hearing Kirtan sung by Narottama Das Thakur, sung by Ramachandra Kaviraj. They were hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita from the lotus mouth of these personalities. They were completely floating in devotional ecstasies. And these two boys were observing all this. They were observing how Narottama Das Thakur, he's worshipping the deities, he's offering arati, how he's singing, how he's doing japa. And Narottam Das Thakur, Ramachandra Kaviraj, they will cook for the deities, they'll offer it to the deities. And then they'll give that to these boys. Tell me, who will not relish bhoga which has become prasad cooked by Narottam Das Thakur and Ramachandra Kaviraj? These boys would relish very nicely. One point that is mentioned is that Narottam Das Thakur never allowed to take his remnants. So boys were feeling a little morose that they're not getting, but they were happy that they're getting such wonderful prasadam. And like this, it went on and on for 10 days. And in these 10 days, these boys heard the literatures written by our acharyas, the Shat Goswamis. And they completely, wholeheartedly embraced Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy and teachings. They embraced all the practice of Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And it's described, now they were completely settled. Now, 10 days means after Dashera. So now the father had sent them get all those animals to do sacrifice. And these boys are missing. They are searching there, where are our boys, where are our boys? And here these boys are relishing Krishna Katha and Krishna Prasad. So after 10 days, it is described that these two personalities, they took initiation formally from these two personalities. So Ramakrishna, he took initiation from Narottam Das Thakur. What was the other boy's name? Hari Ram. He took initiation from Ramachandra Kaviraj. And now this news, that the top class Brahmana boys have taken initiation from Kayastha Vaishnavas, this spread everywhere. And this fell in the ear of the personality staying in Ganeshpur, Shivaya Acharya or Shivananda Acharya. And immediately he sent the messenger, go and get my boys. And those messenger came, he told Narottam Das Thakur, these two boys have been called. These two boys are asking Guru Maharaj, what we should do? Guru Maharaj said, go. Go. So they both went. Now, they are very beautifully dressed in Vaishnava attire. Dhoti kurta, shaven head with shikha, tilak, Gaudiya Vaishnava tilak, kanthi. And they went, they paid respects to their father and they stood in front of the father. And now the father started speaking. First and foremost, he started saying, we are so worried. Look at your mother. Look at me. We are so worried where you people had gone. And tell me, what did you do with the money that I had given you to purchase the animals? And then they describe the entire scene. That we were walking like this and these two great souls were talking to each other. Our heart got transformed. You know what they did with the animals? They left the animals. Go. Hare Krishna. They left the animals and they went with these two personalities. So they described all this. And they also described that they have taken Diksha from Narottam and Ramachandra. Now the father was shocked. Because he had the mentality of that caste Brahmana. We are the top class Brahmanas. This was the mood. He was shocked. You took Diksha from a Shudra. You both, the top class Brahmana boys, you took Diksha from Shudra. Shame on you people. And then he started speaking a lot of things. Then both the boys, can you imagine? In 10 days, they learned entire Bhakti Shastra. And we spent so many months and years to do Bhakti Shastri. 4 books we take so much of time. They understood entire Bhakti Shastra. And now they were in a position to defend themselves by debating with their own father who was a great scholar. The father is speaking and they are countering from Bhakti Shastra saying that birth does not matter. What matters is qualification. And these two personalities, our Gurudev, they're very qualified. They're great Vaishnavas. Vaishnavas are greater than Brahmanas. And they started establishing all this. And father was not accepting anything. No, I don't accept all this. It's all nonsense. And these boys are again saying many different things. And father is saying, this is all word jugglery. They'll say anything. This is another word jugglery. If you all want to be in this place, you all have to reject the diksha that is given to you, and I'll tell you what prayaschitta to do, and then maybe we'll consider to accept you or not back to the top class, high class Brahmana family. I was just thinking the boys might be saying, hey, kisko chahiye? So now when the father saw that they're not budging an inch, then, see, in the past, whenever such things would take place in the family, so at that time, they would call the community of Brahmanas, the other Brahmanas. So the panel discussion will take place. Now in this panel discussion, it's not some ordinary people who will come. They would be all scholars. So great scholars were invited, great Brahmana scholars were invited to home. And now just imagine, all those great scholars are sitting, and in that there's a topmost Pandit who's sitting in between. These two boys were called, shaven heads. They both sat there. And they're fully confident. Can you imagine that? Sometimes we see this even in our temples. Max, they might have read bhagavad-gita or some small books. And devotees are asked to give class. And they give class confidently. And at the end, they have the daring and guts to ask also. Any questions? Where is such confidence coming from? This comes from the blessings and the mercy of Sri Guru. You see, these devotees were blessed. Both the boys were blessed. They both sat straight, and they were ready for all the arguments coming from the other side. Now these scholars were sitting, they were elderly, and they were scholars. So they're like, "Arey, do bacche baithe hai." And they started speaking in a very mild terms, very nicely, in a very pleasing way. They started speaking to them. And they started very nicely putting forward different things. That see, accepting initiation from a low-class person is not good for a Brahmana. And they continued speaking all that. And after they spoke, then when they kept quiet, they paused. Then these two boys said, "Now our humble obeisance at your feet. With your permission, now we would like to speak." Now, then they started. They said there are 3 levels of realization. Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. You people are stuck at Brahman. And they started giving elaborate descriptions about qualification of a Brahmana, qualification of a Vaishnava, qualification of a Guru. Kiba Vipra Kiba Nyasi Shudra Kere Nai Jai Krishna Tattva Veta Say Guru Hoy. Doesn't matter, is he a Vipra, Brahmana or a Shudra? Doesn't matter. If he knows Krishna Tattva, he is eligible to become Guru. So they start speaking all this. They spoke about the ultimate goal. They spoke about process of bhakti. And finally, the last point was Vaishnavas like my Guru Maharaj. They're liberated. Therefore, they're above Brahmanas. And we taking initiation from such personality, there is no fault in that. We have not done anything wrong. In fact, our act of taking Diksha from these personalities, these great Vaishnavas, is going to benefit Devatas and all our family members. And then they kept quiet. Now, after hearing all this, there was a pin drop silence in the entire place. No avaz from either side. Shivai was looking, "Ye mere bacche?" Shivananda is looking, are these my kids? Some Pandits, they were very charmed by these two boys. There were some other Pandits who were bewildered. Some other Pandits were frustrated. And the eldest of all the Pandits who was there was a very great scholar. He was completely bewildered and frustrated. And then he looked at Shivananda Acharya or Shivaya Acharya and he said, "Sorry, kuch nahi kar sakte aapke bachcho ka." They are not ready to budge an inch. They have received the mercy of 2 great Vaishnavas and therefore they cannot be defeated. And they left the place. Can you imagine the power of these 2 boys? Can you imagine the power of Narottama Das Thakur and Ramachandra Kaviraj? How much purity that they have in 10 days. It's just 10 days. In 10 days, these boys became such great scholars. We have a similar incident in our iskcon also. Giriraj Swami Maharaj. So Giriraj Swami Maharaj's parents had come to take him and things like that. A lot of discussions happened and all that. And once looks like Giriraj Maharaj goes home, his Prabhupada disciple. And there was one personality who was there at his home. Maybe his cousin, sister or someone. And he was not knowing that she's a physiotherapist or psychiatrist or whatever. And then she started asking, tell me Glenn, his Karmi name, Glenn. Tell me Glenn, did you feel that your parents don't love you? Therefore you left the place? So at that time, Giriraj Maharaj, he said, which parents are you talking about? I had so many lifetimes and I had so many parents. And he went on and on and on. And she came out and the parents were asking, Kya? Because they had sent her. What happened? And she said that nothing can happen with this boy. Ye haath se nikal gaya. So in this way, one thing that we see is that when we come in touch with the pure devotee, his vani, his instructions, naturally the conviction in Krishna consciousness increases to a very, very great extent. Finally, in a devotee's life, what is important? Conviction. Information everyone will get. You just Google it, you'll have information. If you don't want to waste your time much in Googling, you can just go for the chat GPT brother. You can ask. So it's the information doesn't matter. But finally, what matters is conviction. How much conviction do I have in the process? Because one thing is very clear. Since we are conditioned living entities, we'll be swayed by the circumstances every now and then. Maybe some people around will try to undermine our faith, or our karmic reactions which are going to burst every now and then. Be it some health issue, or be it some monetary issue, or be it some relationship issue, family issue, or whatever. If we don't have strong conviction, we will not be able to withstand that critical situation, and maybe we'll get swayed. And many of the times people go down in their devotional service. Sometimes they give up bhakti also. I remember there was a very wonderful couple. They were chanting 16 rounds every day and things like that for a good number of years. And looks like someone in their house got a very terrible chronic disease. And looking at that, they lost complete faith on the process and the Lord, and they gave up chanting. To an extent, when some devotee approached to ask, so how is your life? What is happening? They said, our life is very blissful. We are saving 2 hours in our life now. Maybe for the sense gratification. You see? So therefore, conviction is very important. And this conviction is not out of sentiment. This conviction should be out of Shastra. This conviction should be out of mercy that we receive from our superiors. Then it becomes very easy. And now this news spread everywhere. What was the news? 2 Brahmana boys who have taken initiation from Kayastha, defeated great Pandits. This spread everywhere. And then from whom did they take initiation from? Hey, you don't know? Thakur Mahashoy. They took initiation from Thakur Mahashoy. And now, already fame of Narottama Thakur was increasing. After the incident, it increased more. And many, many people started going to take his shelter. And at the same time, there were many other caste Brahmanas who were boiling inside. What is this? What is happening? And this was taking place. There was a great scholar at that time, and his name was Ganga Narayan Chakravarti. Now, Ganga Narayan Chakravarti, he was such a great scholar that he was leading the Brahmana community at that time. And he heard about all this that took place. Now, these boys, after this incident, they would just go around doing Sankirtan in different places, chanting Hare Krishna. Now, it so happened one day that they were passing by the ashram of Ganga Narayan Chakravarti. They were singing Hare Krishna Mahamantra very melodiously. And Ganga Narayan Chakravarti heard this. And when he heard, he saw, oh, these are the 2 boys whom I was hearing about. And he saw a great effulgence coming from their body. And he started wondering, how is it? What has happened with these boys? And then he called them. He called that, are you the sons of Shivai? And they said, yes, we are the sons of Shivananda Acharya. And then he introduced himself. I am Ganganaran Chakravarti. You might know me. He said, yes, who does not know you? You are such a great scholar. And then he started speaking. He started saying that everyone around is talking about you two. How great you two personalities are. And then he asked, in fact he said, that I heard you took initiation. You left home and you took initiation from Narottama Thakur. And the boy said, yes. After many, many lifetimes, we are so fortunate that we have got a bona fide guru. We are so fortunate. And by his mercy, all the andhakar that was there in our life, all the ignorance that is removed completely. At that time, Ganganaran Chakravarti said, oh, I'm so happy to see that both of you are so eager to get rid of the material bondage. But let me tell you that you can get rid of material bondage only when you strictly follow the Brahmanical rules and regulations. You cannot attain perfection of life just by rejecting your father. And surely you cannot attain perfection by taking shelter of a Shudra. Now these two boys, they were so well versed now after so many debates and arguments. They were like, "Theek hai bacha." Now we'll see. Now they both started speaking. They were ready for any challenge. Now they started glorifying their spiritual masters. How magnanimous they are. They started glorifying their qualities. And they started glorifying devotional service. Initially, this personality, Ganganaran Chakravarti, he tried countering different statements of these boys. But with time he understood, they are unshakable. Their conviction is so strong, they are unshakable. And now it so happened that these boys are speaking so sweetly with so much of purity. Ganganaran Chakravarti started hearing. Ab boliye hum sunte hain. To an extent that he invited them home. Why don't you come to our home? We'll continue our discussion. He served prasad to these two boys. And after that, all three of them, they sat and the discussion started. And this discussion went on and on and on. Till late night, it went on and on and on. It is described that he started asking. And he was thinking to himself, how these boys are becoming so effulgent. And how they are bursting with so much of love for their guru. What has this Narottama done for these people? So on and so forth. And now, desiring to understand this, he started asking various things. And these boys started speaking from the Bhakti Shastras that they had heard for 10 days. Although 10 days mein kya hua rahega, I'm just thinking. What crash course was that what they got? To an extent they were able to defeat all Pandits around. Until late night, these boys were speaking. And Ganganaran Chakravarti, the great scholarly Pandit, he was sitting and hearing. And it is described with every minute that was ticking on the clock, this personality's pride was diminishing now. And his heart started changing. There are many things that he speaks. I thought I'll directly speak from this book. Very nicely, he says, my boys, it is clear you have attained great heights in your spiritual understanding. And that the practice of bhakti is a path of joy. I don't know whether to rejoice or cry at this. I have always considered myself a learned teacher, but in front of you I feel ignorant. Look at his realization. In all the days of my life, I have not tasted even a thousandth of the happiness I see in you. What then is the use of all my learning? After studying hundreds of scriptures and posing as an elevated spiritualist, I have never shed even a single tear of ecstasy. You know what attracts people? The joy that we experience in Krishna consciousness. This is what will attract common public of this world. See, everyone is searching for joy. Everyone is searching for happiness. When devotees are happy, genuinely, not just acting. Yes. Now newcomers are there, so let me smile and laugh and whatever. One thing we have to understand is people in the outside world, they can detect easily who is who. If you're acting, they can make out. But if someone is genuinely happy, these people also feel that we also want to become like this person. We also want to be so happy, so joyful. See, look at this Ganganayan Chakravarti. He is saying this. I have not experienced even thousandth of the happiness that you are experiencing. I have not shed even one tear of ecstasy. And then he continued. He was choked with emotions now. And then he started saying, why is this? Why is my heart so empty? Why have I failed so miserably? I have always followed my dharma explicitly, strictly adhering to all the rules and regulations of Brahmanical life. Look at this, what he is saying. At that time, Hariram, he interrupted and he said, you Pandits like to talk of dharma and rules and regulations, but you seem to lose sight of real purpose of dharma. What is the real purpose of dharma? And he said, real purpose of dharma is to connect with Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, through loving service. To please Him is the goal of life. There is no other goal in the life of a human being. There is only one goal. That is to please Lord Sri Krishna by rendering loving devotional service. And it's not possible to please Him by becoming a perfect Brahmana, acquiring knowledge or observing etiquette perfectly. By giving charity, staying clean, strict vows, only this will not attract the mercy of the Lord. And he went on and on. He said, everything else is simply for show. If your activities do not bring you to the point of loving God, they are a useless waste of time. The Lord wants only your love. When you love Him, your life will be filled with bliss. It's as simple as that. And it's a fact, we cannot please the Lord with anything apart from loving devotional service. There's nothing that will attract Krishna's mercy apart from Krishna consciousness. Bhaktya mama vijanati yavan yaschasmi tatvatah. Even Krishna is telling very clearly in Bhagavad-gita, only by bhakti someone can know me. Only by bhakti you can attract my mercy. And Lord is ready to sell Himself to that personality who is rendering pure devotional service. So in this way, all this was spoken. And who is hearing all this? Ganganarayan Chakravarti, the great scholar whose heart is transformed. And he nodded his head and he said, Sahi bole tum log dono. It's truly wonderful that how much clarity you people have got. By your kindness, my eyes have opened to the truth. Om ajnanati mirandhasya. My eyes have opened. But now, he started cursing himself. I wasted my life. I wasted my life. Why did I waste my time with dry learning? What's the use of knowing hundreds of shlokas when my heart is devoid of love for Krishna? What's the use of this? So at that time, these two young boys, they said, Koi baat nahi, tension mat le. It's never too late. It's never too late to take up devotional service. Krishna is always waiting for us to turn towards Him. And at that time, Ganganarayan Chakravarti is saying, oh, you make it sound so simple. But I fear that it's not so easy to develop loving feeling for the Supreme Lord. How does such devotion arise in the heart? Now these two boys again started. Now you have actually asked the right question. And they said, the answer is very simple. Unless you take the shelter of a pure devotee of the Lord, you cannot attain devotional feelings towards Krishna. This is the secret to success. Become the humble servant of the servant of the servant of Lord Sri Krishna. To cultivate Krishna consciousness must be the endeavor and nothing else in life. So in this way, all these things they spoke. And they continued speaking a lot of different things. Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bij. All these different things they started speaking. And it's so wonderful. Then they started glorifying Narottama Thakur. Thakur Mahashay always teaches that a genuine disciple must take the Guru's instruction as his life and soul. Now this Chakravarti, after hearing all this, his heart was paining. It was stirring. And then he said, these two boys were transformed into brilliant gems by the magical touch of Sri Thakur Mahasaya. Perhaps by his mercy, I also can change. Now look at the association of these two boys. Therefore, just by looking at the disciples, the Guru's name, it spreads everywhere. The Guru's fame spreads everywhere. Therefore, the behavior of the disciple matters a lot. It's not just about saying Jai Gurudev, Jai Gurudev. It doesn't matter. Yes. It's not about keeping one's Guru's photo on DP and status and this and that and saying I'm a staunch follower of my Guru, etc. No. We have to show that in our actions. How do we actually make out that who is a genuine disciple? When someone follows the instruction of the Guru very strictly, very nicely, you know what happens at that time? Wonderful devotional qualities will manifest. And these wonderful qualities attracts the heart of anyone and everyone. And then they will glorify. They'll ask also, whose disciple he is? The same question, whose disciple he is asked in two different circumstances. Sab samajh gaye na? Yes. When you do something very, very amazing, at that time they'll ask, whose disciple he is? And when you actually do very, very amazing, you're spoiling the name of everyone. Whose disciple he is? Therefore, the first one is better, where the Guru is glorified. Look at this. Ganganaran Chakravarti is thinking, if they have become so effulgent, so great by taking shelter of Thakur Mahasaya, if I take shelter of Thakur Mahasaya, even I can become like that. He has got this desire now. But now one thing that was there is, he started with guilt speaking and he said that I've committed so many offenses against your beloved spiritual master. So many offenses. I don't know how I'll be forgiven for this. It's so difficult. Is it possible for me to get the mercy of Thakur Mahasaya? Is it ever possible? I have wasted my life. I have been drowning in the ocean of sorrow now. At that time, both these boys, they said, don't worry. Our Guru Maharaj is very, very merciful. Don't worry. He will surely accept you. And then both of them, they said, see, it's getting late and we are brahmachari, we sleep early. So let's take rest now. They went to take rest. And that night, Ganganaran Chakravarti, he got a very, very divine dream where Narottama Thakur appeared in the dream. And he said, you're my eternal associate, don't worry, I'll accept you. And next day when he got up, he was in ecstasy. Great ecstasy. And all three of them, they started going towards Kheturi Gram, to the ashram of Narottama Thakur. And after going to Narottama Thakur's place, when Ganganaran Chakravarti saw Narottama Thakur, he was able to make out, he is the same personality whom I saw in the dream. Therefore, this is very nice that when great personalities appear in the dream, it's a very nice thing. And especially when these great personalities appear to shower their mercy, that's a very big thing. And here we see that Chakravarti, he saw and he could easily recognize, he's the same personality. He immediately went, he fell at the feet of Narottama Thakur, he begged for forgiveness. And at that time, he begged for the mercy. And Narottama Thakur, he said a very nice thing. He said, you will certainly receive the mercy of my beloved Guru Maharaj, Lokanath Goswami. You'll surely receive the mercy of my spiritual master. In this way, we see that Narottama Thakur accepted Ganganaran Chakravarti. And Ganganaran Chakravarti, when he was paying obeisances to Narottama Thakur, it is described, Narottama Thakur lifted him and he gave him a tight embrace. And Ganganaran Chakravarti is going mad, crying and crying and crying, and the different feeling altogether in the heart. And this personality was a great scholar, now spent rest of his life studying the bhakti shastras, not just some dry logic. Now again, this news spread everywhere. Who got converted? And who was he? The leader. No, he's a leader. See, he's not just some mere Brahmana here and there. He was the leader of the entire community. He got transformed. And everywhere this news spread. Hey, pata hai kya Ganga Narayan? He left. He left. Now he's taken shelter of Narottama Das Thakur. So in this way, the message, started spreading everywhere. Everyone started talking to each other. And now they started saying, actually, Thakur Mahashaya is a touchstone. Anyone who goes and gets in touch with Narottama, he's completely transformed. Once one Prabhupada disciple was saying that comparing a Vaishnava to a mere touchstone is actually like an offense. Because what does a touchstone do? Touchstone, when you touch it to a metal, it converts that metal into gold. And then that sannyasi was saying, but Vaishnavas are such touchstone, when they touch someone, that person also becomes a touchstone. They're so great, so very great. So now they started glorifying. And all this went into the ears of the other Brahmanas who were frustrated and bewildered. Now they all felt, bahut zyada ho raha hai abhi. A Kayastha, a Shudra is leading. Now if all the Brahmanas go and take his shelter, what will happen to the entire community? We have to do something about it. All of them, they went to the king of that place. They went to Pakkapalli, a place nearby, and they approached the king there. King's name is very nice, Raja Narasimha. But Raja Narasimha was very mild. And he was a very pious king. So he had a court of Pandits. And these Brahmanas entered that place. When they were entering the palace, the guards didn't stop them. Because Brahmanas, they were allowed to go anywhere and everywhere. They just entered. And they went there and Raja Narasimha is so happy. He's saying, I am so fortunate. So many great stalwarts have come to my place. I don't think that he said Hare Krishna at that time. I'm so fortunate to have all of you. Please tell us what happened. And then they started saying, there is a great impostor and his name is Thakur Mahashaya. Narottama Das Thakur. He's a Kayastha, he's a Shudra. He has got such impudence that he's initiating Brahmanas, high-class Brahmanas. You know what? Ganga Narayan Chakravarti, he went. He left. And so many other Brahmanas, they're gone, leaving our community. If Shudras start leading the community, what will happen? Now this was put forward and there was a huge debate, huge argument, not debate, huge arguments they were placing in front of the king. Now the king was not understanding what to do. At that time, there was one Pandit in king's court. He came forward and he said, O king, don't just hear their paksha, their side. You should understand about Narottama Das Thakur also. I will tell you, I know about him. He's a great Vaishnava. He's a very, very great personality. He is not an impostor. He's very simple. He stays in a simple hut. He does not have any possessions. He is very, very pure. Now these Brahmanas, they start burning like anything. He said, see, oh Raja, see, even your Pandit is brainwashed. This is the situation. Even your Pandit is brainwashed. So this went on and on and on. And now Raja is thinking what to do. Whom should I believe? They are also Pandit. He is also Pandit. Whom should I believe? So at that time, there was the eldest Pandit in the entire Sabha. And his name was Rupa Narayan. So he asked Rupa Narayan, oh Rupa Narayan, you tell. You are the topmost Pandit. You tell that what is the best thing that has to be done now. So Rupa Narayan, he said that I think that we should go to Kheturi and we should have a debate with Narottama. And let's see who is genuine, who is proper. We'll get to know. And Raja was very happy. Oh, this sounds very good. Let's go. And now Raja Narasimha, Rupa Narayan, their Pandits and the other Pandits who came to complain. Everyone started and now the goal is to defeat Narottama Das Thakur. This was the goal. And when the entire team started, from this place to Kheturi, looks like it was one night journey. They have to walk and go. So this news spread to Kheturi and it went into the ears of Narottama Thakur. Ganganarayan Chakravarti and Ramachandra Kaviraj, they both went and told Narottama Thakur, this is what is going to happen. Soon, this entire team is going to come to debate with you. And Narottama Thakur expressed that I don't want to get into all this. Just by his expression, I don't want to get into all this. Now, these two personalities were so obedient to Narottama Thakur, they devised a plan. What they did was, one person, he dressed himself, Ganganarayan Chakravarti and Ramachandra, they both dressed themselves. One person dressed as Panwala and other person dressed as Potwala. Yes. So one person was having a lot of pots to sell. And other person, he had betel nut and betel leaves to sell. And they went to that village where all the Pandits and the Raja were supposed to take rest. So they had camped in that place. And now for cooking, they wanted some pots. And after food, they wanted to take pan. So they went to the market to get various grains and this and that. So now when they went there, it is described that they went to the person who was selling the pot. And they went and asked the cost of the pot and all that they were asking. And they were mesmerized to hear the answer from the other side because the answer was in Sanskrit. They were wondering, Sanskrit? But initially they wondered, but they didn't bother. And then again they asked. Again, from the other side, they're getting answer in Sanskrit language. Again, they were mesmerized completely. They're wondering, in this village, everyone speaks Sanskrit. And then, now this personality who was selling the pot, if I'm not wrong, it's Ganganarayan Chakravarti. He somehow got some topics and he pulled them into spiritual talks. And now there began a huge discussion. Now the discussion turned into arguments and debate. To an extent that he started speaking and speaking and speaking. And in between the Panwala also came. And he also started adding points. And now these people are wondering, Arey Bapre, what is going on here? And to an extent, they were trying to counter the arguments, but they were not getting any points now. And they were completely defeated now. And they started thinking, Arey Bapre, what are these two? And in between, when they were arguing at that time, when these Pandits, they asked, where did you learn all these things from? And they said, we learned it from our Guru Maharaj, Narottama Thakur. Now, the Pandits started thinking, if the Potwala and Panwala are so strong and they're able to defeat us, then what to talk about the Pandits with Narottama Thakur? And what to talk about Narottama Thakur himself? So all of them, they went back to the camp and they said, we'll get senior Pandits. And these two, Potwala and Panwala, they said, we'll stay back. Because these Pandits will not accept defeat so easily. We'll stay back, they'll come again. And that's what happened. They all came and now Rupa Narayan also came with them. But Rupa Narayan was not speaking anything. So all of them, they started debating again. And these two, Panwala, Potwala, they were arguing and giving points after points after points, solid points to defeat all their arguments. And all of them, they were mesmerized. They were bewildered. And they understood they're defeated. Because they're blank, completely blank. They were not knowing what to speak now. Rupa Narayan just was standing there. And all of them, they went back to the camp. They accepted defeat. And at that time, some Pandits, they started asking Rupa Narayan, Panditji, you were not speaking anything. We thought you'll speak in our favor. You could have defeated them easily. Why you didn't speak? And Rupa Narayan, he said, long time back. And he got into a very important history. Long time back, I was known as Digvijay Pandit. And I was that personality who went to Sri Vrindavan Dham where I heard there are two great personalities, Rupa and Sanatan. I went to defeat them. And when I went there to defeat them, and I told I want to have debate with you, so they said, no, we don't know anything. What we are supposed to do? I told them, sign on this paper. They both signed, and I was very happy that I am the great scholar. And I was telling everyone, I defeated these two. Then a young boy came there. And his name was Sri Jiva. And Sri Jiva, he asked, किसको defeat किया? फिर से बोल, किसको? Rupa and Sanatan. Rupa, Sanatan. You come, you debate with me. And you know what? Rup Narayan is describing. You know what? That boy debated with me and he defeated me. He completely defeated me. And I surrendered onto him at that point of time. And at that time, Jiva Goswami had told me that in future, you will be initiated by a great personality called Srila Narottama Das Thakur. And Rup Narayan is telling all the Pandits, I was waiting for that day when I will be able to go and take darshan of Narottama Das Thakur. The day when you people came, I was so happy. That now is the time I'll get to go and take darshan of Narottama Das Thakur and take his shelter. I was so happy. And now some Pandits, they went very furious. They said, oh, you were not interested to help us. You are an enemy in this group. Now all this discussion started. Now the king also, he was hearing all this. The king also came. And at that time, the lead of that group of Pandit, he came running. And then he said, I also want to go and meet Narottama Das Thakur. Now they asked, what happened to you? Rup Narayan, what happened to you? I thought you were in their party, you are in my party. So at that time he said that I just slept for some time and Bhagavati Devi appeared in my dream because they were Shaktas. Bhagavati Devi appeared in my dream and she was holding a sword in the hand. She was about to chop me saying, how dare you offend such a great Vaishnava like Narottama Das Thakur? And it is described that all these Pandits and Rup Narayan and the king, Raja Narsimha, they all decided that we should go and take shelter of Narottama Das Thakur. Can you imagine? This is our Acharya. This is Narottama Das Thakur. And all of them they went. And then they took darshan of the Keturi temple first. And the news went to Narottama Das Thakur that Raja Narsimha and all the Pandits have come. And Narottama Das Thakur was very happy that they have come. And all of them they went. Their legs were trembling when they were going towards Narottama Das Thakur. Because they realized he's not an ordinary personality. He's a very, very great personality. Their legs were trembling. Narottama Das Thakur was there. One side was the panwala, other side was the potwala. Both of them standing with shaven head and shikha. And they were able to make out, these two people. And at that time, they all fell at the feet of Narottama Das Thakur. And very beautifully, it is described that they were all initiated by this great Acharya called Narottama Das Thakur. A lot of wonderful descriptions of how these personalities, they surrendered onto Narottama Das Thakur and they accepted Narottama Das Thakur as their spiritual master. This is such a wonderful thing to note that our Acharyas are not ordinary. Yes. Can you imagine? Gaudiyas. There's such a... It is described one Gaudiya is enough to deliver the entire universe. And each personality in our parampara are like that. And they all have come just to deliver all of us. Can you imagine these great scholars, these great Pandits, they were surrendering to Narottama Das Thakur. This is the greatness of our Acharyas. And therefore we see in this parampara, we don't have ordinary personalities. They're all Siddhas. They're all perfected beings. And what message they're giving down to us is a very, very amazing message. And this message of the devotional service is on a very, very top rung. They don't speak something at a very low level. They don't speak about any rasa, lower rasas. They speak about the higher rasas. They speak about how to enter that higher rasa. They speak about the higher feelings towards their lordships and how to relish those higher feelings and how to attain perfection in those higher feelings. Can you imagine? This is what is Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. And when anyone becomes part of this Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, it's Aho Bhagya. It's Aho Bhagya. I don't think we were searching. Kahan hai? Gaudiya kahan? Gaudiya. Who is Gaudiya here? We were not searching. We were searching where is happiness, and we were tricked. Search for happiness, first session. Here is the happiness. And then with time only we understood that how this parampara is so glorious, so wonderful. Therefore now when we are part of this glorious parampara, what we have to do is, we have to study the life sketch of these acharyas. And just by studying the life sketch of these acharyas, one thing is very clear, that all of us, we are going to understand how great these personalities are. And when we understand how great these personalities are and how great their teachings are, what is going to happen? We'll get attached to them. And this is the success of a personality in a particular sampradaya. You see, you take, for example, the Sri Vaishnavas. How much they are attached to Ramanujacharya. Just see how much they are attached to Ramanujacharya. They introduce themselves as Ramanuja Dasan. I am the servant of Ramanujacharya. This is how they introduce themselves. That shows their attachment to their Acharya. So if we are attached to our Acharyas in the Parampara, if we feel proud to be a Gaudiya Vaishnava, and if we are very eager to apply the teachings given by these Acharyas in our Parampara, we are successful. Our life is successful. In this way, all these personalities who came to Narottama Das Thakur, they all were there in that place for a good amount of time. They were hearing kirtans of Narottama Das Thakur. They were hearing the bhakti shastras from the lotus path of Narottama Das Thakur. And Narottama Das Thakur very, very amazingly was pleading them, why don't you become devotees of Krishna? Why you want to go away from Krishna and get stuck in this material world? Why you are still stuck at Brahman? Attain the highest position. And he went on and on and on. And all these personalities were completely transformed. In this way, when Narottama Das Thakur, Srinivas Acharya, Shyamanand Prabhu, when they were preaching, they were not going and converting one PG into devotees. They were converting villages after villages into devotees. That was their power. Yes. If they were there here, Bangalore would have become Krishna conscious city like this. Like this. Yes. So therefore, walking in their footsteps, they were converting the entire town, city into Krishna conscious city. So we have also been asked to convert the city into Krishna conscious city. And since we are in the parampara, we can also act as instrument to do something little on these lines and prove that yes, we are part of Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. Thank you very much. Narottama Das Thakur ki, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki.